Grow 'em Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by Huntworth and these other fine sponsors.
There are so darn many overwinter stresses. You got the seasonal low point of food, you got the temps, you got the winds, you got the predators, you got ice, you got all this type of stuff. Well, right off the bat, if you want to go ahead and help deer overwinter, get them into winter feeling good and fat and sassy, make sure they have ample food over late summer, early fall, when both the bucks and the does are going ahead and trying to fatten up before the November rut starts really kicking in. Okay, as far as what we can plant that'll help, farm crops. You got soybeans that are high in protein, you've got corn that's high in carbs. They're both great. Oftentimes you can go ahead and buy a little bit back from the farmer. That's awesome. It helps them get into winter and it helps them overwinter better. But do not just go ahead and settle for those crops. Always be greedy. Be greedy and try to get the max you possibly can from it. So what you're going to do is when those soybeans start to yellow or the corn starts to dry, before an all-day rain event, go into those standing crops and top seed 3 parts fall, winter, spring cereal rye, 1 part lights out oats at 100 pounds an acre, right on top of the dirt, right into the crops themselves. You're just going ahead along with a hand seeder and throwing the cereal rye and oats out in there. So that way you're giving them 2 things. First, you're giving them those grains. Next, you're giving them that cereal rye and oats. The same thing with brassicas. I'm always waiting for the brassicas, the honey hole, to get about yay tall, and then I'm top seeding that with 3 parts fall, winter, spring, white, 1 part lights out oats before an all-day rain event. Again, those brassicas, they're going to hammer them. They're going to hammer them to go ahead and fatten up for winter, and if they're available during winter, they'll oftentimes, or almost always, paw through at least a foot of snow to go get them. Okay. The cereal rye and oats mixture, again, stretches that out over a longer period of season. And that cereal rye does you so darn much good. It has such an incredibly deep taproot. It goes way further down than most anything else we plant. And in turn, that is building organic matter in the soil sponge for holding nutrients and moisture. And at the same time, it is mining NP and K from deep into the earth and bringing it up to where other plants can utilize it. Finally, it does not die over winter. It goes dormant. And anytime you have a thaw, anytime those soil temps are above 34 degrees, that cereal rye is starting to grow again. And that is so incredibly important because it is incredibly highly digestible and it's offering 15% protein. For as much as we stress the heck out over winters, it's those late springs that kill the snot out of deer. This cereal rye is going to go ahead and be greened up anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 weeks to a month before nature greens up herself. Okay, that is all good and great. But you really, really want to feed deer? Get out your darn chainsaws. We ignore our timber so horrifically badly when it comes to feeding deer. Just simply by removing 30% of the canopy, studies have shown you will increase an average of 500% the amount of forage that those whitetails have on the forest floor simply by removing 30% of the canopy. When it comes to mass trees, whether you're talking apples, whether you're talking oaks, you remove the competition around choked in oaks and mass trees, oaks, apples. What you do is you go ahead and you increase the size of that mass crop by 65% more. And the individual acorns and apples get to be 25% bigger. when you're having logging work done to your timber, overwinter is the time to do this stuff. And have them leave all the deciduous tops lay where they cut them. That way you are essentially ringing the dinner bell for whitetails, and they are coming in and they've got instant overwinter browse. And then all that regrowth is going to go ahead and provide, as I said, 500% more food from that woods. My point is, do not ignore your woodlots. It is such an incredible source of food. It is not even funny. Mother Nature's used them for years to feed our whitetails. All we need to do is turn them off and turn them back on again. In other words, go in and do some logging, reboot that woods, and early succession is a beautiful thing for feeding whitetails.
Final thoughts, brought to you by Huntworth.
There are all sorts of things we can do to help deer overwinter. Cereal rye is a big one. Fattening them up to get into winter is where it all starts. And then making sure they have food over winter. Yeah, we can do a whole bunch with food plots, and cereal rye is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing, especially for springs when they so desperately need that nutrition and are right on that razor's edge. That said, do not ignore your woody browse. Woody browse is the staple that Mother Nature has used to feed deer over winter for well before any of us were ever born, and she'll be doing it well after. You give her a little bit of an assist, you reboot that timber, get that early succession going again, and oh my word, are you ever producing deer food.